Up next on the Open Alliance Show, we're joined by FRC 900, the Zebracorns, coming in from the East Coast. So much to talk about this incredible team and their students, ranging from strategy to some of their mechanical prototypes, like the one you see on screen right now. One of my favorite things with Zebracorns is their software, and we'll be talking about how they're approaching the QR code scanning, doing autonomous and more. And we'll be talking also some of their team composition as well, coming up here on the Open Alliance Show. This video on fun is brought to you by viewers like you and also in partnership with the following. AndyMark is your one-stop shop for all your robotics competition needs. Celebrating 20 years of quality robotics parts and superior service, AndyMark employees have over 200 years of first-team experience. From mechanical and electrical products to tools and hardware, head on over to AndyMark.com for high-quality and affordable solutions. Support Fun's content creators when you sign up for a membership on YouTube Join. You'll get access to special perks like emotes, loyalty badges, and Fun members will even get early access to our scheduled videos and more. 100% of this revenue will go back to our correspondents to help recognize their efforts. Click the Join button in any YouTube video to pledge your support. And welcome to the Open Alliance Show. We have Team 900, the Zebracorns, coming in, an absolutely phenomenal team. I hope you've been watching their incredible build blogs. They've been doing so much that has been covered. Zebracorns, to me, when I think about Zebracorns, I think about some incredible programming on the team. But we have a lot to cover with Zebracorns today, coming from especially early build season, strategy, mechanical, programming, some things with new students as well too. And speaking of students, we have two students joining us from the Zebracorns. Welcome on the show. If you can introduce yourselves and let us know what you do on the team.
Yeah, my name is Smriti and I do strategy on the team.
I'm Dia and I do mechanical.
So Smithy, let's jump into the strategy right away and talk about what your team has been doing, approaching this year's game Crescendo, and what's gone into it from your end. How are you approaching strategy, and where are you kind of at now in regards to your process?
Yeah, so our approach to strategy remains largely unchanged throughout the years. So we've tried it previous years and it works very well. So the main thing we do is we make sure to read the rules as a team. For us, it's really important to make sure that each member has a basic understanding of the rules, and then our strategy team will break off. So this year it was around 10 students. Me and Dia were both on it. And so part of what we did is as soon as we came back from the whole team rule reading, we talked about rules that we thought were interesting, questions we had, and then just aspects of the game we thought were going to be important. After that, we made sure to involve some potential ways to score and then actions that we thought we were going to focus on. So our strategy meeting, we went back and forth. We talked about fields of parts on the field that might be congested, levels of play, and we did some estimates for cycles and estimates for how long we thought certain actions would take. And then we accumulated all that data and came up with a list of a couple optimal strategies, which we then put into a strategy presentation. So one of the things we think is really important is, considering that our strategy guides a lot of what we do on the team, we think it's important that the strategy we decide on is something that the majority of our team agrees with. So our strategy presentation outlined a couple of our top strategies, and the one we picked ended up being an almost unanimous decision. So for us, at least, that means that people are working towards goals that they wanted to work towards. And that's really important for us, just to make sure everyone's happy with what they're doing on the team.
Something I want to ask you about is some of the cool things that you posted on your build log as well too, is that heat map that you had on there, and I thought this was really neat. So when you were looking at the areas of the field for optimal defensive spots, that as you put in your build log as well too, to me the Zebracorns is a very good offensive team. Why do you approach defense as well too in this game?
So for us, we look at defense in two ways. So on one way, if we're the offense, where do we think defense is going to be played against us? And on the other hand, if something were to happen and we end up needing to play defense, what areas of the field do we want to play defense on? So one of the things we do with the first part of that, where should we avoid defense, is knowing where we should cycle through. So this year, for example, because we thought the area nearest our source zone would be congested with defense, and then also with bots on our own alliance, one of the things we really prioritized was having a robot that could fit under the stage, so that we can kind of have a new path that at least we thought would be less congested.
Oh, that's really interesting. I love that the thought process of it's not us playing defense. It's what is somebody going to do against us? I think that's really cool with that, and a great way to go about that. The last thing I want to ask you in regards to robot wise on it. So, what did you end up deciding upon for a strategy moving forward? When I look at on your bill log and you have those actions you talked about that you did. What are maybe the most primary actions you're looking at accomplishing, or are you going to try to accomplish everything?
Yeah. So one of the things we thought we would prioritize is the trap. For us, not only is it a way to score points, but it's also a way for us to get closer to achieving that rank point. And especially at lower levels of play, we think that rank point, like in North Carolina competitions, will be really, really important. So the trap, and then as kind of a subset under that, being able to climb. And then obviously just like intaking, driving around. And then under that, we have a speaker, so being able to shoot into the speaker. And then if our trap mechanism doesn't end up doubling as an amp mechanism, that was like the lowest on our list.
It's really interesting to hear you say trap, because when I think of so many other teams and you look at some of the other Cheap Delphi posts out there saying, don't do trap for things like that. I love to hear that your team is looking at accomplishing that as well. And we're going to be jumping into the mechanical side in just a moment too. But what are you, and this might be a mechanical question, but what are you actually looking at doing specifically for the trap? Have you gotten to that point of, what kind of mechanism you're looking at doing, or anything else in regards to that?
I'm going to let Dia talk about this one.
Yeah, so the trap is obviously very important to our strategy. So we are actually basically thinking of having some kind of mechanism, like a shooter, that can also double as something that we can use to score in the trap. So we're hoping to have it on some sort of arm and a climber, and be able to score in the trap that way.
Very cool. And Dia, as we bring on talk about mechanical side of things, what are some of the other progress moments for the Zebracorns? And I guess, are you building an alpha bot? Are you doing certain types of prototyping? Let's dive into what you've been working on from mechanical side.
Yeah, so once build season started, we decided to sit down together and build a mind map of questions that we wanted to have answered, things that we want on our robot, things that we definitely need on our robot, and we basically tuned it to the way that our strategy list was given to us by our strategy sub-team. So we decided on kind of a time frame. So we have kind of 2 weeks for prototyping. We're in week 2 right now. We decided what mechanisms we wanted on our robot and how to achieve that. We created a review board, as I said, to basically list out the questions that we wanted answered by our prototyping. And for those people that had ideas about mechanisms, we had them do sketches in CAD. And based on that, we've been doing some prototyping these past few weeks.
We have one of your prototypes on screen right now. It's of your prototype intake and going around the field and intaking that. Can you tell us more about some of your design for what you're looking at doing?
Yeah, so actually, here is the... Sorry?
Want me to hold it?
No, it's okay. So this is our version 1 prototype. So it is 2 rollers. We've done some tubing. We did a bunch of experimentation with different kinds of compliant wheels. We tried mechanism wheels to see if it would help center, but we actually tested it experimentally, and we determined that it didn't do much for centering. We actually found out that with this prototype, the gap between the polycarb plate and our rollers actually helped move the note towards the center. And this has been, like, at the end of our prototyping week last week, we all sat down together and we decided to go with this roller. Our version 2 intake was basically something similar to this, where we had 3 sets of compliant wheels, and that performed really well too. But this is actually lighter, more efficient, and it was better at centering. So we decided to go with this one. So this is our shooter that we've been working on. So we have 2 sets of wheels. We have 2 versions that we worked on for this as well. One of them being horizontal wheels and the other being vertical. So based on our testing, we have been trying to use this to to like double as something that would score in the trap amp, and even potentially the speaker. And so we determined that this actually shot the farthest and with the most power. So we've been going with the vertical rollers for right now.
Oh, that's really cool from the testing perspective, what you found out. And actually, could you hold that back up again? Can we take a look at that whole assembly on there? So when you're looking at, I was watching your intake videos on that. We saw a lot of the note itself kind of being manipulated and moved and a lot like that. Have you tried testing shooting out of this yet? And have you seen any interactions with the note? Like, are you finding that like you're doing any damage to it or any wear and tear over it? And then how are you looking at kind of counteracting potentially notes being different throughout the competition season, where a new note might shoot one way and an old note might shoot a different way?
So we're actually hoping to decide basically on a prototype where we know where the note is going to end up each time. So when we do have, if we do decide to have some sort of handoff mechanism, we can have the note from the intake at the same place every single time. And that'll kind of help us also direct it towards our outtake better. As far as damaging notes, we're going to try and control for that by, if we're going to compress it at all, it's going to be compressed the same way every single time. And that way we can test it to know like where it's going to shoot.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing your progress on this. Well, too, make sure you are following 900's build blog on Chief Delphi as well too, to see their progress and what they've been doing for it. It's so exciting to see. So congratulations so far on a great season start. We can't wait to see what you're doing later on when we check with you from those aspects. But so we do have 2 other students bring on. So Smithy and Dia, thank you so much for being on. Let's bring on a couple other great students on FRC 900, the Zebracorns, talk about programming and experience being a new student as well too. So we have Chris and Rowan as well. If you guys don't mind introducing yourselves, let us know what you do on the team as well, and then we're going to hop right into programming.
Yeah, hi, I'm Chris. I'm on programming, and this is my 3rd year on the team.
Hi, I'm Rowan. I'm in mechanical. This is my 1st year on the team.
So as mentioned before, we're going to start out with programming on it. I know there's a lot to talk about with programming, and I don't care if you start with this first of all, but we got at some point talk about TagSLAM and what that's all about and what you're doing. Yeah. But Chris, talk to me about programming and what Zebracorns is doing and how you're approaching it this year.
For sure. Yeah, so just a few things that we're working on in the preseason that were pretty cool. When we saw the switch to tags to 36H11, we actually brought back our GPU Apriltag detector. So on our robot, we run NVIDIA Jetsons, which have GPU capabilities. And it's actually a lot faster than the conventional CPU Apriltag detector. So that's what we worked on that. We also, we posted on our build blog about it, but we competed in mini FRC. And one of the coolest things that came out of that is we were experimenting with Move It, which is an industrial motion planner. You see it on robots like that move boxes in the factory essentially. And so it's really cool that we can apply similar technologies on our super small robot that we compete in. And so that was really fun. And we're hoping to potentially be able to use that on the real robot this year. So far it works in simulation, so it must work on a real robot. Also, we moved to Phoenix V6. So that was a pretty big jump for us, especially because of how our code is set up with ROS and everything. But we have V6 set up, and actually, with that, we are able to have the new Kraken motors. I think we're the first ones to play music on them, which is pretty cool. So yeah, moving on to the build season. TagSLAM, yeah, we can start with that. Is a pretty cool thing. Basically, what it is so SLAM is simultaneous localization and mapping. And TagSLAM is essentially a SLAM package, or it's a ROS package. And essentially what it does is it uses the tags, like Apriltag detections, and it combines it with our odometry data. And it uses that to localize where a robot is on the field. And so the reason we're exploring this season is because there's about twice as many tags as there were last season. And so especially during auto, there's 2 tags under the speaker. And we ideally are going to be looking at those tags the entire time. And so we should be able to fuse that data with the odometry data from our wheels to get pretty accurate results, like for localizing. And that kind of leads into our auto testing. As for that's pretty much the most important thing we're doing right now. Auto is really important this year. And we've had some struggles with pathing in the past years. Odometry has been a bit unreliable, and we've just stuck to simpler autos. Like last year, we pretty much just did the balance auto. But this year we're trying to aim for at least the 3 notes in the, I don't know, I guess it's in the stage. and we want to get those notes during auto. And so like tying into that, we've implemented, or we've stolen essentially a Choreo. We've integrated that with our code, which is the Swerve Path Planner, which is essentially an upgraded version of Path Planner. And we have set that up so that we can follow Choreo paths. We also have set up, or started to set up our object detection model for this year. We started labeling some images of notes and other robots. We're especially excited this year. It should have a lot of use for the auto in the middle with grabbing the 5 notes. Ideally, we're going to be able to see which notes have been taken and then adjust our path based on that, or see where another robot might be going, avoid them. So both of those things are pretty exciting. Yeah, as for that, yeah, we're also, with the pathing, we have one other cool thing going on with our path follower. We're adding a velocity feed forward to that so that it will follow both position and our commanded velocity. And hopefully all of these combinations, so TagSLAM, new pathing, our new path planner should all hopefully help with our path following just in general, and hopefully allow us to have a lot more consistent autos this year.
I want to go back a little bit to the Krakens you mentioned. I heard the Super Mario thing. We don't have a play on air for it, but super cool with that. But what has your experience been with the Krakens so far in your testing and utilizing them for your Crescendo robot?
Yeah, we've been very impressed with the Krakens so far. Both on paper and from our testing, they are very, very good motors. We wish we could have some more, to be honest. But so far I think they're really good. We're planning on using them at least on the drive base, and we have some calculations on our build blog about that. But we should be achieving speeds around I think 17 to 18 feet per second, and that's pretty exciting to see. And then also the fact that our code doesn't really have to change since it's a CTRE motor is really nice. And so that's also a great thing about them.
You mentioned certain things you're working on. Is there kind of a certain deadline you're looking at accomplishing some of those aspects, or I guess what are the immediate next steps that you're looking at doing from a programming standpoint?
Yeah, I think back to auto, that's pretty much what we're working on right now. We're fairly confident in the rest of our abilities for whatever mechanism comes up, but auto is still a bit of an unknown, so that's where we're focusing most of our work on. And we're ideally by the end of the week, we'd like to see some preliminary autos of getting at least a few notes, so that we could be ready for a first competition with those autos.
Well, Rowan, let's talk about 900 and the composition of it as a team as well too. So talk to me a little about your team size, how the team is broken down in regards to sub teams, and some things that you love about being on 900.
Probably my favorite part so far has been learning new skills, new ways to think about problems, learning how to CAD, learning how to design. That's probably been my favorite part.
Sure. What do you use for CAD? What current program are you using?
I use Onshape. I'm pretty sure everyone else here does.
Sure. And looking at using Onshape for your team, do you find it beneficial that you're able to have this cloud access? You can kind of access it from anywhere, or what do you really like about using Onshape?
I really like that it's fairly simple to use. It's pretty easy to pick up. And once you start doing it, it's really easy to just kind of let your creativity run wild and make whatever you want.
And where's your team at currently in the CAD process? Do you have a robot fully done in CAD already, or where are you at currently?
We don't have a full robot CAD.
Not yet.
There's a few sketches. We're getting there, but we're still pretty unsure of archetype, I think.
Very cool. Last thing, Rowan, I'll ask you is, what are you looking most forward to in the competition season with Crescendo coming up?
Probably the main thing I'm looking forward to in the future is winning. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really looking forward to really just learning more about the process of not just designing robots, but also just designing in general and learning more about the subject.
Well, 900, we can't wait to see how you do in this season. Of course, make sure you're following the Zebracorns build blog that they have on Chief Delphi, and we'll be checking in with them in a few weeks as well, too, to see how their progress is. Hey, everybody on 900, thanks a lot for taking time to be on the Open Alliance show, and we can't wait to see how you do the rest of the way. Good luck.
Bye.
Thank you.
This video on fun is brought to you by viewers like you and also in partnership with the following. AndyMark is your one-stop shop for all your robotics competition needs. Celebrating 20 years of quality robotics parts and superior service, AndyMark employees have over 200 years of first-team experience. From mechanical and electrical products to tools and hardware, head on over to andymark.com for high-quality and affordable solutions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on our new videos. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. Watch our live shows at twitch.tv/firstupdatesnow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow. And check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.